In a chaotic world of monstrous goblins, alcoholic dwarfs, foolish humans, and tree-hugging elves was a dark and dastardly fortress called Devilsprowled. A series of putrid trenches above claustrophobic dungeons with a corrupt tower aggressively penetrating into the world from hell. In the time before time, Onam Raunchy Vulture, the lusts of droopiness, nothing short of a devil from hell, broke out of the underworld in a spire of Slade, trespassing into the world and calling this nefarious fortress of power Devilsprowled. The devilish demon Onam manifested goblins to do its bidding, going forth and digging goblin pits and abducting the children of nearby settlements, forming an evil empire bent on world domination and naming it the Defensive Monsters. Classic propaganda. There was nothing defensive in their plans. They wasted no time and hypocritically attacked the dwarven capital of Workers' Eye, which held its own at first. But battle after battle wore down dwarven defenses, and it fell to the goblin hordes. In the year 38, war was officially declared. It would rage for the next 300 bloody years. In the year 39, only 1 year into the war, the devil Onam decided to flex on the dwarves by entering the wrestling and foot race competitions at the Dwarven Fortress of Mothmetal, both of which Omen won, much to the dwarves' dismay. 50 years into the bloodbath and humiliation, the human kingdom, the dual nation, fearing the relentless hate of the goblins, joins the fray against the defensive monsters. Maybe humans aren't all bad after all, but the desperate move was not enough to fully turn the tide, and the dastardly goblins marched on, brutal battle after battle, abhorrent abduction after abduction. The devil itself would lead battles, wreaking absolute havoc in the field. Whenever the human-dwarven alliance would gain a site, the goblins would counterattack. And when the goblins gained a site, so then would the human-dwarven alliance. This quagmire continued for another arduous 260 years. Then, in 353, King Alath of the embattled Picts had had enough and initiated a bold offensive against the goblin menace. He ordered the founding of 2 new fortresses, Cobalt Church and Overfenna Thad Vak. Cobalt Church was built into an impregnable fortress carved into a volcanic mountain, complete with a protective lava moat and massive underground living area. With a castle on the top of the conjoined mountain, a safe place to train. The volcano was tapped to forge dwarven steel, and the steel to forge strong armor and sharp weapons. While recruits trained in the castle, veterans vindictively attacked goblin pits. Overfennathad Vak was dug deeply and durably straight down into the ground, with a surface-level tavern and separated cavern entrance. Plopped arrogantly beside the monstrous goblin fortress of Devilsprowled, it was an outpost for quick raids. From Cobalt Church, an army of 110 steel-clad dwarves was trained, and at Attack Fortress, a guard of 20. Mercenaries were hired, including a squad of 10 grizzled grizzly bearmen from the southern elvish nation, the Wavy Tornado. These bears are the best thing to ever come out of an elven nation. And not by a bit, it's by a lot. The counteroffensive had begun. The first target was the grimy goblin pits, easy work for steely-eyed, steel-shrouded dwarfs. But the dark goblin fortress of Devilsprowled proved to be insurmountable. Over 10,000 greasy goblins strong, wave after wave of dwarfs crashed against its armies for years. But time makes fools of us all, and after 10 years of ceaseless attack, 10 years of dwarven steel at goblin throat, the enemy's defenses were faltering. On top of this, the bear squad savagely claimed multiple hundreds of kills. Heroes rising to the occasion, the dwarven folk hero Alath claiming more than his fair share, the bard parakeet woman Amoya taking a few gobs out in self-defense, even an elf, Sissel, beheading a few greenskins, and the less likely Jeb. Well, what to say about Jeb, aka Job, aka the treacherous trekking tavern keeper, encouraging goblins at taverns to drink and drink and drink until they get alcohol poisoning and die. I wouldn't exactly call that a hero. In fact, the jury is still out if that's murder or not, but King Alath decided to allow it. So he gets some slack. It's good to be friends with the king. Somewhere in the maelstrom of madness, the devil Onam was struck down by a nameless dwarf. The devious devil was destroyed, and the defensive monsters were now vulnerable and surrounded. With a final push, Devilsprowled was conquered. The defensive monsters were all but defeated. The embattled Picts celebrated with drink and food, peace and prosperity. The entire Dwarven kingdom takes a breath with their longtime rivals at their feet, utterly crushed. But the world is not free from terrors and evils, and peace never lasts. So the dwarves stay ready to meet what next comes their way.